So today we're going to be watching and analyzing some dive accident videos that we found here on YouTube. So let's get to it. Thanks for joining us today. I am Sarah.
My name is Aitor.
And we're from Azul Unlimited,
where we teach all things scuba diving.
Yeah. So today we're going to be looking at dive accidents. Obviously we're watching these videos and analyzing them from our perspective and our experience. So there's always going to be differing opinions out there. And feel free to, ask us questions in the comments below if something doesn't make sense or if you want more clarification on one of the scenarios. Our intention with these explanations is not to judge any of the divers, any of the dive professionals. It's more just to get more knowledge out there, explain what can happen, how to avoid it, and ultimately create safer divers. All right, so let's watch the first video.
Okay, let's play.
Let's talk about cameras.
Okay.
Divers using cameras.
Yeah.
What do we think?
I think it's a bad idea when you are not an experienced diver.
Yeah.
Or you are diving in a new environment like a wall or a drift dive.
If you don't really know how to deal with the conditions that you're going in, it should be treated as a course. During a course, you wouldn't take a camera because you're focusing on new skills. Same thing for diving in new environments. I mean, in this video, it's very obvious that the diver is more concerned about getting angles and getting the thing on camera. The whole video is beautifully filmed.
Yeah.
He was in frame the whole time, but it was almost like he didn't care, or maybe maybe he didn't notice during the time. And normally you feel your weight belt if it shifts that much.
Yeah, and you let the camera go.
Yeah.
You don't hold the selfie stick and keep diving and filming.
Yeah.
Where you can see the weight belt is falling off. I can see a massive piece of weight. He said I'm wearing 10 pounds on my belt, and that looks like a 5 pounds weight.
Yeah.
Okay? So maybe some weight distribution when you use 10 pounds on a belt is too much. Okay? So maybe a little bit of distribution.
Yeah, when there's a lot of weight, to use weight distribution is a good idea. What does it mean to do weight distribution?
Maybe choose a smaller weights, like 2 pounds each, 3, and place a few on the weight belt, maybe 1 on the back of the tank, so you also control your position, because the reason of that weight belt falling off is obviously the weight. It's too much weight, but also the diver position is completely vertical. So the weight belt is dragging the body position down and also it's falling off.
So what does that also mean? He's probably wearing too much weight in the beginning. I mean, he's in a rash guard and shorts. You can see also with the other diver in the image that the diver is completely vertical and kicking up the whole time. That usually means that they're wearing too much weight. That tends to be kind of the go-to solution for people. They just, dive instructors, dive masters will just put weight on people so that they can go down. You have to be careful with that because people will start to struggle, which is what we're seeing in this video. As for reactions, if you are by yourself and you lose your weight belt, the first thing should always be deflate your BCD. You can do that by your dump valves. You can also focus on the exhale. So really taking all of the air out of your lungs will help you to stay down.
Another way to deflate the BCD is using the dump valve on the back of the BCD. And if the weight belt fell off nearby or is close to you, maybe it's a good idea to just kick head down, deflate from here really quick, and then grab the weight belt and put it back, or ask for help.
How do we feel about plastic buckles?
I don't think there is a problem with them. I don't know if they are in good conditions. They work perfectly for many years. I never had a problem with one of them.
Yeah, the main issue that I've seen is that people put too much weight on them.
Yeah, and they don't close it properly. As longer they click and it's properly sealed and closed, we don't have any problem with them. With the weight distribution, you need to be careful because you want to leave enough weight on the weight belt that just in case you have an emergency, you will release and float. You don't want to have more weight on like the tank or pockets than on the weight belt.
You want to have enough weight on your quick release, right? That it allows you to float at the surface. So, what he's talking about with that situation is the emergency weight drop skill in the open water course. If you want to know more about the open water course, check out our video. We have a link in the description below. That was dramatic. As for the reaction of the instructor or dive master, it was really well executed. Anytime that you see someone who is struggling with their weight or they've lost their weight belts, the first thing you want to do is make contact, help them deflate their BCD. And then obviously this dive master was very smart and had extra weights. It's always a really good idea to understand how much minimum weight you need, especially as a dive professional, and take extra for situations like this.
Yeah, I also think she reacted really quick, considering that the diver is the last one on the group.
Yeah.
Okay, and she obviously will be the first one. And with the current, fighting against the current, to grab the diver, I think she was really, really quick.
It was a good rescue.
Everything is okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, that's the first video.
Yeah. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss any of our future videos.
What?
It's got 2 million views. Let's go.
Okay, they have two different accidents or problems. Eardrum perforation.
Eardrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. First is eardrum.
Yeah. And a panic dive. Okay, so let's break down both of them.
Our guy on the GoPro talks about eardrum and vertigo from the very beginning, basically. And so what happens with the eardrum, if you don't equalize from the beginning and you just go down, and go down, you get more pressure, and if you don't do anything about it, your eardrum ruptures. Vertigo happens when your eardrum ruptures and water ends up going inside, okay, somewhere where we're not used to having water, so it just completely disrupts your sense of equilibrium.
I don't know about the camera guy, the one that has the problem, but I saw one of the divers like just kicking upside down. And this is problematic because it's more difficult to equalize, especially in the beginning when you are upside down, than just descending. Using the line, they have a line there and the guy looks like he's not even close to the line when he's having problems with the vertigo.
From the get-go, if this guy wasn't able, like he was trying to equalize and he wasn't able to, he should have said something. He should have grabbed onto the line, said something to a buddy, gone up, tried in a shallower depth, or, you know, if you can't equalize, you can't equalize, and you should not keep going down.
But also, the second problem that I see about the eardrum problem is that the group is going down really, really fast.
Yeah.
So I understand the diver as well. He is taking a course, the instructor and the rest of the group is already at the bottom, and he is struggling at the surface. So most likely he just pushed himself to go down. And
there really didn't seem like there was any reason for a quick ascent. Like, it didn't, I mean, it didn't look like there was
any current,
a lot of current or something.
Visibility looks good to me.
Yeah. So there's really, especially when doing a course, there's no reason why you should be
in a hurry.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're ever in this situation where you are going down, you have problem, you need to make noise, or you just don't push yourself. I mean, you can go back up to the surface.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in a group, protocol says that if they figure out that there's someone missing, they will be back at the surface within about a minute. But you should never feel like you need to push yourself to catch up with the group, because you're just going to mess yourself up.
No, especially when you have a line, you just can go to the line, ascend a little bit, try to equalize gentle. If not, you can move your jaw side to side. Maybe you can push a little bit to stimulate the air to go through, okay, to be able to equalize. Just wait for your body to realize that you are in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, and just wait at the level, and if not, just cancel.
Yeah. Yeah, having a line there that's just a really easy way to avoid that, because they're going to be able to find you really easily. Even if they do go down and you lose sight of them, if you're right there on the line, it's not rocket science. Like, your buddies are going to be able to find you.
He didn't signal any problem for a while, but I think it's because he was too into the problem with the vertigo, and just took a little bit too long.
It looked like he was stressed and worried about losing the group.
Yeah, then when the body approached to help, it's a good idea if you have somebody with problem to equalize, to hold them and help them to keep buoyancy. Because if not, if you are hyperventilating, they're gonna be like up and down with problem on the ear. But yeah, maybe a little bit of help. Using a regulator.
His regulator sounds like he needs servicing. That should have been dealt with beforehand and not been diving on a squeaky regulator.
Yeah.
Why was he still diving?
He didn't signal to anybody. He's having problems.
This is an advanced course, right?
Yeah.
So there's tons of buoyancy problems already. Okay. I think he was looking for help from someone who was already struggling, because that was the diver that ended up panicking. So, if you need help, you want to go to your buddy. If you happen to be buddied with someone who you realize is not very competent, because sometimes it does happen when you go to a place by yourself, you get buddied up with someone. You can still make noise to get the help of your instructor or dive master or anybody. I mean, really, on the dive group, if you see someone who's competent and you need help, you can call them.
Yeah, but in that case, it was like the blind guiding the deaf. It's like, I don't know, the one with trouble was helping the other one with more troubles.
Yeah. I want to talk about how this person got into panic.
Yeah. Let's guess, okay? Because it's not like a clear sign of that something really happens, but you can see on the video the guy is there a little bit far away from the group. Obviously it's a very deeper than the rest of the group, and I think personally the main problem is the weight. He's overweighted, he's fighting continuously to keep buoyancy, and is getting tired or what do you say?
Overexerted.
Yeah, overexerted.
He was with a buddy. I think she was looking for the instructor for more help, but in doing that, she turned her back on her buddy who's struggling.
Yeah.
So that's never a good idea. If you have someone who's having a hard time, like he said before, you make contact, bring them over. If you don't feel like you're confident to deal with the situation, you don't know how to solve it, you can at least bring them to someone who knows how to deal with it. So I think that probably caused a lot of panic, that he felt all of a sudden alone. Yeah, I think it's time to go up.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay, please.
Yeah. And that's instructor, right? There we go.
Yeah.
He's going in. Oh my god. So we are doing this.
Yeah.
Welcome, Chala. This
Okay.
is our dive shop dog, one of the two. She's going to help us explain dive accidents now.
Okay, so here you can see that the alternate is upside down, and you know what happens with an alternate upside down. They float, they get water inside, so it's almost impossible to breathe.
Yeah, it depends on the brand,
yeah.
and
some of them they are reversible, but
Yeah.
that one is not one of them.
yeah. So he got it and started to stress out even more because he's panicking and now getting water in his mouth and in his lungs.
Yeah. Okay, now he dropped the regulator because obviously he can't breathe, and the instructor is taking control of the situation. Okay?
Which is good.
Yeah, but look also the kicking technique. He's like riding a bicycle.
Basically, riding a bicycle when scuba diving is when you're just bending your knees and not getting the full force of the fins, right? You need to have your legs straight and kicking like this to be able to actually make movement. Then also, you know, he's kicking like crazy. He's got these split fins on. Are we going to go into the split fin discussion?
I don't know, but I'm just going to say that people go to jail because using split fins. So.
Okay, so around here in Komodo, we don't want to see anyone with split fins because with the strong currents and everything, you cannot fight the currents with split fins. And I have to say to my fellow Californian divers, I know that a ton of you love to dive with split fins.
Yeah.
Depending on the environment, they can be fine, but we have a personal preference that we're split fins are a no-go around here.
Okay, so now he's on the boat. He looks in really bad shape. Like, just, I don't know, he looks like really tired. Well, they complain about not giving oxygen. I will say that you need to evaluate first. Will somebody prepare the oxygen and then provide oxygen. Doesn't matter the situation.
Yeah, it's never a bad idea to give oxygen. I know that in a lot of places, oxygen is expensive, but the number one thing is that people are taken care of and that your diving operation is safe. It started out messy from the beginning, right? And that could have been avoided with a much better briefing from, I mean, we don't know what the briefing was like for this dive, but like a much better dive plan from the instructor. There was a lot of chaos from the very beginning, and especially if they're taking a course, it should absolutely not happen. Like everything should be very clear. Obviously, because you have students, there's still going to be, you know, people messing around because students have no idea, but this was a lot.
Yeah, everything was really disorganized from the beginning. Any communication on the descent with the student to see if they have any problems. Then underwater, the group was completely separated. The panicking diver was first with the one with the problems on the ear. Then, like seconds later, he was on the deep side, on the side of the wreck. So I don't know, it was really messy situation.
Yeah, not a lot of control from the leader. It's a decent current.
Yeah.
It's not crazy, but you would definitely have to breathe more, you know, working against it to see this turtle.
Yeah, also remember that the closer you are to the bottom, the less current you feel. And yeah, the guy was like
much higher.
Yeah, much higher. So
you can see everybody else kind of low, and well, one of the divers too low, the fins are on the ground. But if, like he's saying, if you're close, or if it's a wall and you're diving close to the wall, then you're going to feel less current there.
Yeah, I mean, the video is from 2012. I think it was other mentality, or people was not that aware that grabbing a fucking hard coral was not okay. So
yeah, everybody's just touching everything right now. I mean, you still see that practice in a lot of places. You know, some of the shark encounters, people are touching the animals. I mean, people still are fascinated with doing it. And what people don't understand is that when we interact with these animals and this environment, we change things.
Yeah.
And it's much more fragile than people are aware of. Coral, especially hard coral, like that one was, it looked, I don't know what, the resolution's not very good, but maybe a brain coral. And they look super sturdy, right? They look like rocks. you know, if you don't know any better. And so it seems like they can handle, you know, you grabbing onto it, but really it's harmful. It's an animal. And same for this turtle. Luckily, this turtle was so chill, because this kind of interaction with turtles can really scare them. And if you scare them too much, like, that can disrupt their breathing patterns. It's difficult, running out of air.
Yeah, you can hear on the regulator. Yeah, and the group is already drifting.
They can hear it. And anytime that you're dealing with strong currents or you're going deep, you should definitely be checking your air more often than on like a regular dive, just because you are using more air.
He started to feel like that is difficult to breathe. Okay, and this is a good sign that you are low in air. So unless you have a balance regulator, the non-balance, they let you know ahead that you are low in air. So it becomes more and more difficult to breathe on the last like couple of minutes.
Yeah, and you can hear it in this video. You can hear that he's starting to suck the air out of the tank. And what's interesting is that he doesn't look that far away from the closest diver. So when he started to feel that, maybe not, but maybe he could have reached his buddy there.
That's another point. He tried to make noise with the camera, but at that point he was closer to the body than to the surface.
Yeah.
So you need to choose. When your body is closer than the surface, you try to reach your body. Also at that point, he was like going with the current.
Yeah.
So he was not fighting.
Yeah, he could have met up with the diver and then shared air, had a nice, you know, slow ascent.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he was smart to use the camera to make noise.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't trying to record the whole thing. He got into what the real problem was.
Yeah, now the group didn't realize he was gone. And again, what is the rule of 1 minute? Where we search around for 1 minute, or when you have current, even less.
The 1 minute rule. So that's where you've lost part of the group. You stay still and you look around for 1 minute to look for bubbles, tanks, fins, something that catches your eye that could be your buddy. And if you don't find them,
you do a normal ascent, slow. You omit the safety stop because it's an emergency situation. You are lost or somebody else is lost. So you don't do your safety stop. You just come up to the surface and you meet with the rest of the group there.
And then when there's current, we, at least around here, we go with the 10 or 15 second rule, depending on how strong the current is. Because when there's a really strong current, you can get separated like crazy with 1 minute. So, you know, this is something that should be discussed within the dive briefing when going on a dive like this.
Yeah, it's less and less air.
Oh, fuck. I mean, at least he was smart to use the camera to make noise.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't trying to record the whole thing. He got into what the real problem was.
Look, split fins.
He was struggling against the current. Why was he struggling against the current? Besides being far away from the bottom. Again,
He chose the wrong fins to be kicking into the current.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I think. Okay.
An emergency ascent.
That's cool. But he chose to do a controlled emergency ascent, and I have to say he kept the regulator on.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kicked all the way to the surface. Then we have that dramatic low motion clip. So that was great. Yeah, we're having some dramatic.
Why did it say to have the sound on?
Because he's breaking the camera all the time. I mean, he's at the surface, he's like calling for the boat. So when you need to scream for a boat, means that you are not doing the things right. Or you are missing some part of the equipment that is mandatory as a recreational diver. So at the surface you should have at least a whistle to call for help, maybe an SMB.
So around here, at least at Azul, we give all of our divers SMBs in their pockets because of situations like this. Current can be really strong, and you know, the best thing to do when you're at the surface is just make yourself visible.
He's really smart, and he used the film to call for help, to be more visible. Maybe if you have a knife, because a lot of divers, they carry a knife or a cutting device, you can use it with the sun to make some signal at the surface.
If yours is nice enough to get a shine.
Yeah. Or some old school divers, they're still carrying a mirror, small mirror. But yeah, you need something at the surface to call for help on the distance.
But it seems like he's waiting there for a long time. This means that the dive group either didn't notice for a long time that he was missing, or they went through and they did their safety stop and came up to the surface, which is not part of the protocol.
To search for a diver that is gone in a current is kind of easier because you have a main direction. So you don't need to look like everywhere. You just need to think if the diver was behind, just wait, because maybe he just stopped to see something and is drifting in your direction. Or if he was ahead of you, you just need to maybe kick a little bit faster and see if he just gets, I don't know, carried by the current a little bit farther.
Oh, I thought he was going to leave him alone. Okay.
Okay. Obviously, you need to be on the situation to know how to react or what to do. So it's really easy to talk about that sitting from here. We know that, but we just want to give more information about how to prevent.
Yeah, a lot of times accidents, simple accidents, can be solved very easily just by knowing and understanding what's happening. And that's why reading dive accidents or watching dive accidents is really useful, because you already have something logged. Even if you haven't experienced it yourself, you have some kind of understanding and information in your brain about it. Cool, so we hope that you learned something about this. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more scuba diving videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Why does everybody want to steal my seat? What do you think? Do you think she knows about diver accidents?
Yeah.